launch of Talking Outsourcing. I'm Angelica Mari. I'm a senior reporter at Computing Magazine, which is where this project started about 3 years ago. So, in the absence of the computing editor Brian Glick, I just wanted to say a quick few words on the magazine's behalf. So I assume that if you're here tonight, you know a little bit about Mark's work and its relevance for the IT, globalization and outsourcing industries. As I'm guessing about 99% of you, apart from the 1% that came only for the free brews. So just to give you a little background, Computing invited Mark to be one of its first independent bloggers as part of a wider overhaul of the website. So since then, I just have a few figures here. He's overexcited. So that's exactly that was the point I was getting to. Since the launch in 2006, the Talking Outsourcing blog proved to be one of the most frequently updated and the most popular in our website. And during that time, Mark has written more than 370 blog posts, which would have been read 75,000 times by more than 57,000 people. So I suspect that if every one of these people were to buy a copy of Mark's book, he would be a pretty happy man. So, in the words of Computing's editor Brian Glick, Talking Outsourcing has made an important contribution not only to Computing's output, but to the debate about outsourcing, offshoring and globalization, proving particularly relevant to its readers during the current economic situation. So without too much delay, I'd like to introduce you to the first speaker of tonight's event, Hilary Robertson, PPO Strategy Director at Steria. Please welcome Hilary.
Thanks, Angelica, and thank you very much, Mark, for the invitation. Much appreciated, and good luck with the book sales. Okay, talking outsourcing, and I'm assuming there might be a few students here, but actually everybody doesn't look that, no, you look too old, so. Okay, so talking outsourcing. 10 years ago, I would say that talking outsourcing really meant talking cost savings, and I think the buzz around about then was really about India. And over the years, the term outsourcing has really become synonymous with offshoring. Now, offshoring has actually created the opportunity to make an enormous step change in cost reduction. And a decade on, many organisations have extended their value chains around the world, very many countries. However, the success of offshoring has perhaps stolen focus a little bit away from the term outsourcing. And when you can get anything from 30 to 70% cost reduction guaranteed, you can see why some of those benefits can sometimes appear to be overshadowed. And for some of the strategy students here, guaranteed cost savings of 30% very rarely come round, once in a blue moon. Lower cost resource is often far more tangible, it's far more easier to measure, and it's therefore far easier to buy. However, cost reduction is much harder to sustain, as again, the strategy students should know. So 10 years ago, the main driver behind, 10 years ago, the main driver, as I say, was cost savings. Sometimes it was to get rid of a problem. Often that problem, particularly in the IT department, was to keep up with advancing technology and advancing technology change. So there's a number of, I know there's a few IT directors here in the room, and I think they're quite familiar with outsourcing the IT department to get the benefits of technology refresh. I think as cost savings became a given, following a kind of Maslow's hierarchy, so other needs were overlaid. Now, if we accelerate forward a little bit to perhaps 2 years ago, I think you find that costs were then passé, and actually innovation became the next big thing.
It's 7 o'clock.
It's one of those. It's one of those. Remind me again in a few minutes.
remind you at 8, but hopefully we'll be drinking by then.
I've got a bottle of wine with my name on it. Right, so innovation. Now, I have to say, innovation, for those who are the lawyers in the room, and again, there's a few of those, innovation, it's very rarely, it's very hard to define it. It means different things to different organisations. It's extremely hard to contract for. I know we have a number of contracts that have innovation in the contract. And often, particularly if you go through a number of meetings of the NOA, for example, you find that the clients are disappointed because they haven't got the equivalent of the new Apple iPhone for their business. So if you step back a year ago, and then we shot right back down to cost again. Cost, cash is king. So what I'm going to do is focus on some of the benefits of outsourcing that I think are going to become the more important factors in decision making in the future. I'm going to bring in some examples from Steria's world. So for those who don't know, that covers software development, IT outsourcing, remote infrastructure management, and business process outsourcing. So first, the benefits of outsourcing, not just costs. Well, there is a cost element to this one, and this is to do with freeing up fixed assets in a business and allowing those fixed assets to be deployed more strategically in the business. So if I illustrate, we have a joint venture with the UK Department of Health. It's quite unique, 50-50. This was something that the Department of Health had set up as a shared service centre in-house. They had 39 organisations, that's out of about 660, so there was a way to go. And they couldn't really make it work for the whole of the National Health Service, which is for whom it was providing services. Now, they outsourced it in April 2005. We're now running at about 30% of the NHS. Now, when that achieves about 50%, it's estimated, this is the market estimate, that around about £250 million real money will have been freed up from back office functions, and that can now be spent on frontline care. So that's the equivalent of the salaries of 3,000 doctors or 12,000 extra nurses. And I think as a taxpayer, what I want is transparency for what I'm spending my tax on, and I want to see the return against frontline services. So it's something that actually is delivering then greater benefits, not just these the sort of fixed to variable costs. It's actually providing nurses with the ability to have real-time information that they've never had before, so that they can be empowered to make buying decisions rather than having to go to the directors of finance. It's allowing change to be made once only. For example, the VAT change that came into force a little while ago, and will happen again when VAT goes back. And it's delivering comparative analysis across the NHS organisations, across well over 100. We have about 147 organisations. So the directors of finance can compare themselves and see how they perform, and that's actually driving business change, real organisational change. And I think that's just fantastic, that actually people are wanting to be more efficient in the NHS.